After PayPal, I never thought I would get interested in payments again, but Bitcoin is fulfilling PayPal's original vision to create the new world currency.
Currencies, if you will, that are physics-based. So energy is the true currency. This is why I said Bitcoin is based on energy. You can't legislate energy. You can't just, pass a law and suddenly have a lot of energy. It's very difficult to generate energy, or especially to harness energy in a useful way to do useful work. So I think that probably we won't have money, and probably we'll just have energy, power generation as the de facto currency.
There is a common entity behind all of these different things I speak of, and that's Vivo Power. But if you listen to Elon Musk, what he's getting at is that Bitcoin represents energy production and energy consumption. When they want to turn up energy production, Bitcoin speculation is a tool. When they want to turn it down, Bitcoin prices are a tool. Proof of work mining is also a tool to expand chip fabrication. Bitcoin financed AI. Where we are today is a direct result of Bitcoin ASIC chips and chip fabrication. XAI, ChatGPT, these things are results of cryptocurrency. Last week, I said I wish I could speak about WebBank, but I ran out of time. WebBank was X.com, PayPal's premier bank. X.com created PayPal. This was what PayPal was supposed to be, was X Money. X Money is coming out very soon, but WebBank was the premier bank for X.com, for eBay and PayPal. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, David Sachs, they're all connected to WebBank, but not only WebBank, other entities that I've mentioned. And I'll dig into these details bit by bit. But WebBank was the premier institution, and this goes back to the Gemini twins tweeting about Ripple doing a 180 on XRP, and this XRP cashback, it was a big deal at the time, from Brad Garlinghouse tweeting about it, Cameron Winklevoss, and others. And what they were tweeting about was really more markets. WebBank issued the card for XRP cashback. This was the first bank to work with X.com. X Money is right around the corner. Before we continue the show, I'd like to take a moment to thank NordVPN. NordVPN is not just a VPN service, which it has blazing fast speeds, but it also is ideal for travel. So when you connect to public Wi-Fi networks, everybody can see what is happening on a Wi-Fi network. If somebody's tech savvy, they can install man-in-the-middle attack and see exactly what you are posting. And this includes financial data and other data that is sensitive. So when you connect onto public Wi-Fi, make sure that NordVPN is enabled so it can protect you and your computer from these types of attacks. But this is an entire software suite. So check them out at nordvpn.com/Darren. If you use this link, you can get 4 extra months on the annual plan just by using my link. If you don't like it, you'll get your money back with a money-back guarantee. So check them out today.
His software company, Zip2, which enabled newspapers to publish online for $400 million cash.
Receiving cash is cash. I mean, those are just a large number of Ben Franklins.
It's the perfect car for Silicon Valley. It really is.
There it is, gentlemen, the fastest car in the world.
I could go and buy one of the islands in the Bahamas and turn it into my personal fiefdom. Wow. I'm much more interested in trying to build and create a new company.
So this is an ATM. What we're going to do is transform the traditional banking industry.
I do not fit the picture of a banker.
X.com, this is Julie.
Raising $50 million is a matter of making a series of phone calls. And the money is there. I've sunk the great majority of my net worth into X.com, which is the new banking and mutual funds company on the internet that I've started.
Big X.
Exactly. X.com.
I think X.com could absolutely be a multi-billion-dollar bonanza. Because if you look at the industry that X is pursuing, it's the biggest sector of the world economy.
Is that a McLaren F1?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's unbelievable.
It's sort of like a series of poker games. And now I've gone on to a more high-stake poker game and just carry those chips with me. And I haven't gone and taken my winnings and spent a big chunk, but I've just really put almost all of it back into the new game. No, I'd say the real payoff is the sense of satisfaction in having created the company that I sold.
Yes, but the cars.
But the car sure is.
The cars.
Sure is.
Let's be honest.
Sure is.
If you think I'm losing my mind, I argue that you don't have a mind. These are crony capitalists. The crony capitalists are at work, and we're paying attention to what they have to do. So understand that this is all connected. They're growing the pie. This is relationships. It's not conspiracies. It's not connecting loose dots. These are relationships that are growing. They're growing the pie so everybody can eat. When Elon Musk was working on PayPal Credit, formerly Bill Me Later, PayPal's working capital loans were originally issued through WebBank through 2008 all the way to 2022. Historically, PayPal was WebBank's biggest partner for over a decade. Relationship largely wound down after PayPal's chartered its own banks in Europe and got Synchrony for PayPal credit in the US. So if you've ever had to make a large purchase online, you may have seen the PayPal credit button. I remember financing a laptop in 2000 with PayPal credit. This was all happening through WebBank integrations. But ladies and gentlemen, it goes deeper than that. For the historical context, PayPal's lending push in 2013 to 2014 relied on industrial banks like WebBank to comply with regulations, avoiding the need for a full charter. And that echoes today with the Genius regulations and the national charters being set up with Ripple and Coinbase and Circle to be their own banks. You're seeing these integrations happen with companies like WebBank.
Go for it.
We met with them, and we had the horrible lapse of judgment not to invest. It was close.
I mean, what you've got going on with the internet is it's basically like an earthquake where the epicenter is Silicon Valley, and it's shaking up the whole world.
I think the internet is very much in this sort of independent mindset of punk rock. I mean, punk rock is a lot of it's just about thinking for yourself.
You saw Tim Draper singing. These guys all know each other. They all invest with each other. They're friendly with each other. This is how the economy works. People get together and exchange goods and services with each other, but it's also relationship. This is not conspiracy. This is how everybody interacts in the economic world. The mission of the original X.com or PayPal was to bring money on the internet. And it sort of fizzled out and turned into PayPal, but the original idea is still stuck with these founders. It's not like they gave up on the idea. They just thought that at that time, it didn't work. So they started investing in projects that started doing what they originally wanted. And now there is the protocols to actually accomplish X.com as well as bringing money onto the internet. Peter Thiel has a significant connection to a firm through its venture capital firm, the Founders Fund, and they led over $100 million in 2016. And here's a BIS document talking about PayPal using several banking partners as well as WebBank. So you can start seeing a clear theme of success in some of the individuals that are connected to the successful businesses in the fintech world. And later, I'm going to connect these all to Ripple entities like Vivo Power. WebBank, as you know, had the XRP cashback card that Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz, they all made a big deal about, and everybody asked why. Uphold already did this. Well, this is why.
Go take the car.
If you talk to any of these people who have hit the jackpot early, they don't even have a conceptualization of the amount of money that they have. It's funny money. It's something you don't even think about. The amazing thing is that almost none of them quit, even when they could. It's not a vesting thing. It's not that there's some secret clause in there that keeps them from doing it. They want to do what they're doing. They think that to stop doing that is death.
I'd like to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. That'd be cool.
Now, this is Max Levchin. He is another PayPal co-founder, and he had the company that eventually became PayPal. Levchin made contribution to PayPal's anti-fraud efforts. Now, Max created something called Affirm. And so Max creates Affirm, and Affirm has virtually all of its installment loans, point of sale financing through WebBank. And this is an extremely close multi-billion-dollar partnership that originated since 2015. This is Keith Rabios. He's another executive that's tied to the PayPal mafia. As a matter of fact, he either founded or co-founded PayPal, LinkedIn, YouTube, SpaceX, Tesla, Palantir, and Affirm, the Boring Company, Neuralink, and he's got investments in all the other things that we've been talking about. It keeps going. These are the crony capitalists, folks. Like I said, Affirm has one of the strongest relationships with WebBank. These two individuals are part of the PayPal mafia, and they're also part of Affirm. They're founders of Affirm. WebBank is Affirm's primary issuing bank. But that's not all, because David Sachs also has a company called Harbor, which is trade finance. And some of Harbor's loans originates via WebBank. Now, this isn't as strong, but you get the idea. There is this constant theme around the cronies and some of the investments that they have. So understand that WebBank was PayPal's primary U.S. lending partner, and the relationship grew into all the other ventures that the PayPal mafia has. Now, I'm going to move on to Visa, but there's more that ties all of this stuff together. And Vivo Power is at the center of all of this.
So pre-funding is a little bit of a strange concept. So let me just start with the basics.
Sounds good.
So let's say that you're a company and you have maybe 10 different markets around the world that you support, and you have employees in those markets. If you want to pay them, you have to pay them in local currency. So to have local currency, it means you have to have bank accounts and partners that have money in those markets. And so that's all fine and good, but let's say it's a weekend and you have drivers that want to get paid that day, and you start running out of money. And you can't move money on the weekend because the banks aren't open. And so what stablecoins allows these companies to do is position money in real time into those markets so that they can still pay out their employees. And so it really is it's addressing some of the inefficiencies that we have with global cross-border money movement.
And this is also a pilot right now, so when is this going to be available to the public potentially?
It's live now for our APIs, and so what we're doing now is working with partners to help show them how to integrate that into their processes. And so there is a lot of demand, as you can imagine, from companies around the world, because it's easier and faster treasury management. And so it's exciting because people are starting to lean into it because there is more regulatory clarity, so that's helping. And so particularly in the US, and there's other markets around the world that are starting to get that regulatory framework as well. So that will be exciting for us.
Bearable Guy quoted Freddie Mercury, and then Visa came out with a commercial using Queen's song, Don't Stop Me Now. Now, when you listen to this clip, what is he telling us? Well, you see, Visa, MasterCard, these credit cards have taken over the retail consumer-to-consumer type of payments. And what he's talking about is back-end business-to-business. And what they're doing is replicating the Nostro Vostro type of system, but using it at a smaller scale, using stable coins. So usually Visa is doing just payments. There's no settlement. They send instructions for settlement between Visa in Europe and Visa in the United States, and they settle up and they figure out a way to settle everything at the end. In this use case, what he is describing is using stable coins as collateral for a Nostra Vostra system that is very small scale. And that means anyone can do it.
Yeah, it starts with Visa Direct. So Visa Direct is our cross-border real-time money movement platform. Today, if you wanted to send money to someone, you could load your bank card into it. You could also use your bank account. But now we're adding stablecoin wallets as a way to receive money. And so if you're a business and you want to send money to your creator, for example, in the market, you can just have them load their stablecoin address and it sends the money to them immediately.
So you mentioned creators.
Yeah.
Who else is the ideal candidate for this pilot?
I mean, there's so many different ways that we would think about this. There's the creators, there's freelancers, there's gig workers. So let's say that you are working for a rideshare program and you want to get paid daily for whatever you've done for that day. Once again, today, if you want to get paid today, you may have to wait 2 or 3 days if you use the normal banking process. But going forward, you could say to your employer, here's my stablecoin wallet address. I want to receive a portion of my payroll every day on stablecoins. And so they could then receive that in real time, instantaneously. And so it's just so incredible for them to do that.
And Visa's use case is using a smart escrow type of feature that we saw with more markets. And you're seeing collateralized stablecoin payments. Collateralized stablecoin payments is emulating the same Nostro Vostro type of system that we already have. But instead of Nostro and Vostro banks, what you're going to have is fintechs being able to hold on to stable coins, hold on to different crypto assets, and recreate a Nostro and Vostro type of system on a smaller scale. So you may remember that Visa is partnered with Earthport. Earthport purchased some of Ripple's partners, and then Earthport went on to do more within the payment community.
And with content creators, as you're a content creator, you start to work with people around the world. You could also now receive a stablecoin backed, like a US dollar backed stablecoin, so you can get access to money fast, instantaneously, and then you also then can use that money to invest in your business and grow your business as well.
How long is this pilot going to last, and when do you anticipate it could potentially be available to the masses?
We are starting the pilot in the US, so US-based companies that want to send money to anyone around the world, they could do that. And then in the later half of 2026, we'll be expanding this to more countries as well. And so we encourage people who want to get into this space to contact Visa, and we'll work with them as we start to deploy this globally.
Visa acquires Earthport, which had deep integrations with Ripple, and then goes out to create these new platforms utilizing stable coins, and is waiting for the Genius Act to pass before they go prime time. Now, he says in 2026 that you're going to see the first glimpses of this, but it's going to be domestically with stablecoin payments, and then it's going to venture out into the international payments, and that's where XRP comes into play. And the reason for this is the smart escrow feature. So you make a payment to your business partner, they ship the goods, and when the goods get to you, the smart escrow releases the funds. And this is going to happen between all these different neobanks and fintechs. And these are the integrations that Ripple has made with the 300 plus partnerships early on. So the local jurisdictions are able to convert currencies and actually give you tangible cash at the payout locations. So multiple fintech companies like Klarna have issued their own stablecoin. Shopify announced USDC integrations. Klarna has issued its own stablecoin. There's also Tempo blockchain and these new layer 3 blockchains that are all using stablecoin integrations. But not only that, USDC has officially launched on the XRP ledger. Now, if you understand how AMMs work and impermanent loss and all these different equations, you would understand that cross-currency transactions have the most risk involved with them. Stable coins paired to other stable coins are fairly risk-free because you have USD paired to USD. But when you start getting to exotic currencies, you still need the liquidity that Ripple built in order to have tight spreads. And tight spreads are how you branch out and give more utility to a bridge asset.
I'm Ben Brown for the ABC 15 political team. With the money the U.S. is collecting from tariffs, President Donald Trump said he plans on sending $2,000 tariff dividend checks to individuals with moderate incomes by mid-2026. But is it a good idea?
The president understands that people are hurting and that they need some help, and he's using every tool at his disposal to make sure that he can do that.
Trump's top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, supports the idea. But isn't this exactly what led to high inflation under former President Joe Biden during COVID?
Is there any concern that we could have a repeat of what we saw, to your point, with Biden when he did those stimulus checks?
If everybody knew that a reset was coming, they would invest in the picks and shovels. They would invest in the infrastructure around the reset. And what is happening is just that. The crony capitalists are getting together and they're figuring out how to mirror the old wealth of the old system into the new system. This $2,000 dividend check is really about pumping the asset prices of the next-gen financial system, and that includes crypto assets like Flare, Near, Bitcoin, XRP, FXRP. The list goes on, because these are the new picks and shovels of the next-gen financial system. But all the gold in Fort Knox needs to be coming on-chain. It needs to have a protocol, and what better assets than F assets for tasks like this? Make sure that you look at itrust.com/go/Darren. When you use this link, you'll get a sign-on bonus, but they also offer premium custody. Premium custody, ladies and gentlemen, is a way not to get hacked. But also, the Ledger CEO had a home invasion. The WonderFi CEO was kidnapped. This is serious, desperate times. itrustcapital.com/go/Darren. You use this link and you could take the custody away from holding it yourself. I know that's a feature and not a bug, but when you start getting into vast amounts of wealth, which I believe we all will, I don't want to custody my own assets at that point. So check them out. itrustcapital.com/go/Darren. Also, they have IRAs, so you can circumvent paying high fees and taxes. Now, I'm going to provide more information in the next video. So this series continues, and it's going to continue with the Middle East. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoy content like this, please consider joining my Patreon. If you donated to my hack, please reach out to me for a gift. For merchants, it is an amazing opportunity compared to PayPal. Crypto has no credit card fees, no chargebacks, no oops, we decided to hold your cash for 3 to 12 months while we investigate something we can't disclose.